Welcome back. It's time for our final day of HGC Korea for regular season. It feels crazy that we're coming to an end here. It is going to be the final day of regular season before we go into playoffs.
That's right. And of course, as usual, my name's G Clef and this is Wolf.
No, we always do that.
Yeah, we always do
Unless
that.
you forgot who we were.
Just in case, well, we may have first-time viewers here.
He's like, is that really Jeff? I'm like, no, that's not. That's not us today. It's like, he's like, is that Dreadnought? It's like, no. That's a different region.
Is there a dress? No
dress.
Maybe we'll have one soon, you know.
Who knows?
Who knows?
It's
but
getting a little bit crazy here.
Today is the last day, and we have lots of special teams. MVP Black, Mighty, L5, and even Raven for the last day. So it's going to be some exciting match, and Black is looking for that perfect 14-0.
And Raven, and L5 has to play perfectly in order to advance into their tiebreaker to potentially get directly seeded for BlizzCon to avoid the Gauntlet playoffs. That match will happen tomorrow if it is to happen at all. So if Raven takes even a single map, then L5 will go into that tiebreaker stage there with Tempest. So one best of 5 will determine which one is directly seeded to BlizzCon.
You will see it on the screen. We'll explain once more when we have all the numbers so you can have an easier time understanding. But of course, we have NA and EU up here. We saw some Kel'Thuzad from EU and seemed alright, but seems like it's about the same in all region, only at a perfect time when there is not much CC or when you can escape from dangerous situation. Then you can bring up Kel'Thuzad, sometimes good, sometimes bad. Still, it's only been one day, so we don't know perfectly.
So just let me draw your attention to MVP Black. Okay, 8 3-0s this season, 5 3-1s, so they've dropped 5 maps. They have never had a series go to Game 5, so they have dominated every series essentially. And I mean, that is an incredible stat. Again, never been seen before. If you look at the scores for L5 and Tempest, 1-3-0 would put them at even 3-0s. That would be the exact same score of 36-15 and 11-3. That is why L5 needs a 3-0 in order to have tiebreakers. And on the side of Raven, if they're able to take one map in this series, it will put them at 7-39 as well. So there will be a tie between Raven and RRR. That match doesn't really matter in terms of BlizzCon seeding or Crucible, but it's just going to decide who's 7th and 8th place. So that's something that could occur. Like if Raven takes that one win, they tie RRR, and at the same time, L5 has to go to the Gauntlet.
Ooh, and here's the matchup. But Black, I know, of course, they're looking for the perfect 14-0, but remember Fnatic in Phase 2 Part 1, they almost had a perfect series throughout the part, and then in their last match before the Western Clash, I believe they lost to P-Ducks in their series, and then because of that, they do not have the perfect one. I believe they have 12-1 still.
12-1, yes. So MVP Black is looking for the only perfect season for HGC. Not only
L5 had a perfect one.
They had a perfect phase, but they didn't have a perfect season.
Isn't phase and the season the same thing?
No, or they had a perfect part of a phase. They didn't finish perfect in the end. They didn't have a 14-0.
Really?
13-1, I'm pretty sure.
No, it was 14-0.
Are you 100% sure?
I am sure because I checked this morning.
Okay. And then, in which case it'll be the second time it happened.
But that's kind of cool because L5 took it last time. Now it seems like MVP Black is riding with the addition of Rich, as you can see oftentimes. And you'll see a lot more. And we all already got the battlegrounds in our hand, and it's a very exciting one coming up from Mighty for sure.
So let's look at what this means for Mighty. We didn't talk about them in terms of the standings. They are currently in 4th place in seeding, so they will face the winner of Blossom and Miracle in the Gauntlet. And they're 7-6 currently. A win would put them at 8-6, even with a 3-0. They would never be able to catch up to L5, who's at worst case 10-4, the 2 games behind, even with a victory. So for them, they are already solidified in 4th place. They cannot go up, nor can they go down. But this is going to be a great way to test their skills heading into playoffs, because this is a team that was favored to go to Eastern Clash by many analysts going into last season. And if they can take a map or two off MVP Black, it might indicate that they could be able to make that run to the Gauntlet and go to their first BlizzCon. So would be a big upset for Tempest fans if that were to occur, but it's still a pretty high chance that this team could go through.
That's right. They are always so close to go to the BlizzCon or Eastern Clash or any global event, but they always fall short. That's the thing. And of course, their goal, since the very beginning, they've been saying they want to go to BlizzCon. And that's their goal. Of course, this match would not matter as much, but their playoff will matter a lot more as they want to go to BlizzCon. That's their goal. And we hear from them every single time they come up in the MVP zone. And that's it. There's BDG on screen.
Yeah. So this team has, I mean, they've really had their ups and downs, but I think this has been their best season. They were so close to going to the Eastern Clash, and unfortunately they were defeated there, didn't make it, but I think this is going to be a bit of a taste of what we could maybe see going into this this playoff gauntlet, which will happen next weekend. And you know, Black really cares about this match because they want to be that perfect team. They want to be undefeated. And here they are. This would be their 14-0 run. So looking at the stats, actually, you just brought it up for me. It's 14-0 for L5 last season. For some reason, I had it in my head they lost one series, but they did not do it with as impressive of a record. If Black wins this with a 3-0, they will have 5 map wins versus the 7 of L5. So this would then become the greatest run in history. It's obviously not the first time it happened, but it would be the best score. So if they take that 3-0, only 5 wins, they'll pass L5 standings from last season. And this is a team that, remember, has dominated year after year Heroes of the Storm. They've had their worst year ever this year, and yet still they come out on top with this 14-0. They're very likely to make a great showing at BlizzCon, and this is going to be their last match. They are already seeded for BlizzCon. No matter if they lose this or not, they'll lose their perfect standing, but this is going to be their final match. They will not play playoffs. So if you're a team right now watching this because you're getting ready to play for MVP Black, if you're a BlizzCon team, you want to watch this match. It's going to be the most relevant, most recent data you will ever get.
That's right, on this patch, with Kel'Thuzad allowed, of course, they won't be playing in the playoff as they're going straight to BlizzCon. But I feel like they will be trying to hide their strategy because BlizzCon is maybe playing in a different patch, but still, if they have some crazy strategy that they have prepared, I don't think they really have to show it on stage here tonight. But I'm pretty sure against Mighty, it will not be easy. Maybe they have to show the strategy tonight if they have something prepared. Maybe we'll see some experimental picks coming out from MVP Black.
We don't know what patch BlizzCon will be played on either, so the data that could be gained today might be irrelevant at the end of the day. We'll just have to wait and see. The Mighty will ban Braxis, and we will see the Warhead Junction ban coming out for MVP Black. Standard StarCraft Battleground removals. We're headed to Dragonshire for game number 1.
This was very surprising for me. From Mighty, it almost seems like they want to go late game, but can that happen when solo lane, they always lose, so solo lane against Rich all the time, and oftentimes all the other Korean teams has been struggling because of that solo lane. MVP Black has been dominant in that top lane all the time.
I wonder if we'll see some sort of weird top lane pick like the Zagara we've seen already to try to change that. Because even though Zagara feels like a joke pick or a troll pick, it actually has worked twice now in really strong fashion. Like, I think that if you can draft into a way to build that Zagara out of your 5th pick, you certainly can win the top lane, and maybe that's what needs to be done here. It's going to be a tall order to try to do this against Black on a map where most would argue the solo lane matters more than any other map.
And I think you're on top of things, Wolf, tonight, as that's exactly what Mighty should be looking for, as Rich has adopted into multiple heroes now. Sonya, Dehaka, Leoric. He just used to play a lot less heroes back in Eastern Clash, but after that, since the meta shift, he has become a changed man. As we are waiting for the players.
Load into this lobby here should work in just a moment. You have to think. There we go. So we first ban Morales here from MVP Black. They did get first ban, and they're one of the fastest drafting teams in Korea.
Morales, I did some G-Clef research over the night, and Morales...
Tell me what you see.
I'm only talking about the reworked Morales since last weekend. 4-3 from Korea, 3-2 from NA, and 1-1 in EU. Of course, banned sometimes, but it doesn't really have an outstanding win rate, to say.
Yeah,
And especially in Korea, MVP teams, both Miracle and Black, I think they are the two teams that really putting Morales high up there.
I think every team is putting Morales up there, but how you use her and how you draft around her, I think, is what's really important. When a hero becomes this powerful, the win rate will always be bad. The reason being is that it's a hero that everyone considers to be the top tier hero, so it's picked often, and then by weak teams as well against stronger teams, and those weak teams don't have the coordination. But as you say, it's definitely Black and L5 that are putting it on top, as we saw already. They were the first teams to use it. And Lucio ETC is going to be the path here for Mighty, so showing us that Lucio priority, which we're seeing that is raising up quite a bit, that you know, you predicted weeks ago. Okay, Dahaka will be Rich's soul laner here, and Kel'Thuzad. Okay, our second game here of Kel.
We saw Dignitas just solo DPS Kel'Thuzad last night and was pretty dominant, but it was, I believe, on Spider Queens, not in this bigger, larger battleground. But they do have the Haka already for the solo lane, so they do have the global. Let's see if they go for that solo DPS Kel'Thuzad, just like we saw in Europe last night.
Banning the Malthael here to remove the bad matchup there for Rich on the Dahaka. There are several other bad matchups for Dahaka that could still come into play. Sonya, for example. Zagara as well, if that is how they want to play it. I don't think they will, but we discussed it. So Tracer's coming in again. So Tracer has kind of replaced Vala in terms of double support, hyper carry priority here in Korea. Tracer is the go-to. Everyone is playing her now. And that's actually really exciting to see. As before, it was only a few teams that were capable of running it, especially Tempest, sometimes Black, and now it feels like kind of every team is at least experimenting with this at the moment.
I think they are slowly, it has been a long time, of course, moving away from Vala and having Tracer, because Tracer has a lot more mobility, has her own escape instead of Vala. It's a lot harder to escape, easier to hit the skill targets, so Tracer is appearing so much more. I think that's one of the reasons why. How are they going to deal with the Tracer, though? Lucio, of course, does not give burst healing, so with Kel'Thuzad, maybe they will try to bring more damage. Not like Jaina we saw along with Kel'Thuzad from MVP Miracle yesterday.
I'd like to see some kind of lockdown. Uther is going to be decent lockdown. Genji is going to come in as the secondary DPS, and we'll see Johanna, who has Blessed Shield. So if Blessed Shield can be used with Kel'Thuzad's spells, Tracer's not going to last very long, obviously. But if Tracer finds the Kel'Thuzad, which will probably be Sake in this case, you have to imagine, since he played Jaina, and Reset will be on the Genji. If they find Sake with the pulse bombs, like, Kel'Thuzad cannot protect himself. Like, he doesn't have any real escapes. Like, Tracer out mobilities him like crazy.
Or they need to use the Divine Shield onto Kel'Thuzad, which is the only tool they have to protect right now. That will be the point, I think.
Absolutely. Well, guys, let's head into game number one. We got another Kel'Thuzad game on our hands here as we move into Shire here for this match between Mighty and MVP Black. Let's go into game number one. In blue, it is Mighty, Joker on ETC, BDG on Tracer, Good on the Nasang on Lucio, and Magi on Tassadar.
And in red, MVP Black, Reset on Genji, Sake on Kel'Thuzad, Kyocha on Luther, Rich on Dehaka, and Test on Johanna. We finally get to see Sake on KT.
Something he's been talking about wanting to play for a long time. And this is going to be his first match of it, obviously, and televised here. So let's see how this pans out. So the crux of Kel'Thuzad, again, as we talked about yesterday, is to build his stacks early so that he gets that cooldown reduction, which is so important. Obviously, there are steps along the way, but cooldown reduction is the final form, along with the extra damage.
Looks like we're seeing a few different builds coming out from Kel'Thuzad. saw some Frost Nova build, and yesterday in Korea, and tonight also from Sake. Of course, both MVP teams playing, and maybe they have the same opinion on the hero. They're going for the Q build for now.
That looks like a big rotation up here to try to get a pick on the Rich, but never going to work when the lane is pushed like this in this matchup. Just going to back off as Rich soaks. We'll rotate down mid. Going to try to dominate that lane. The bot lane obviously is lost for Mighty, and that's why the shrines are activated right now. The Moon Shrine will immediately go red. They do have the rotation in now, though. They're going to try to contest for this.
And Tracer does come down, does not get the kill.
Yeah, we're not watching that over there. That's actually the most important thing of all. Nearly getting a pick there, it looks like, potentially onto the Kel'Thuzad. Holds the Pulse Bomb. So we're just going to watch Wet Noodle fight instead for some reason. Like, what's happening in bot lane is so important.
Genji's coming up, though, and Rich does know good. Realizes and just walks out. Seems like no kills for now. Just going around the rotation, focusing on top and bottom. Switching over.
Black has been really struggling
down
down here.
Slide, though.
Glad we at least caught that. The other things we missed, but Black was hoping to get the shrine contested there to actually channel. That's why Johanna was committing mid, and part of the reason why he ended up losing that fight down there. So a pick onto Kyocha is going to be the first pick for Mighty here with the Tracer. Oh, reset is insane. He's not going to get that pick, though. Saved his dash for safety.
And also delayed the targeting back home. Nice movement by Nasang, dodging that drag. Well, would that matter anyhow?
Nope. So 1 for 1 now. Just to answer your question, you know. I'm like, actually, no. So
someone had to answer. No, you're the only one.
Yeah. Sure, like, you know, the fans at home are like, of course it won't matter, but we gotta do the commentary thing. Like, will he get out? Will it matter?
No, he does not.
And
you do. That's kind of funny. You ask yourself and you answer yourself all the time.
Yeah. That's what you gotta do.
Well,
so this is a very dire situation for Magi.
Does he not have shift?
Oh. He does. He's baiting here. They wanted to try to take this channel away. They're going to fail to do so. Tracer is denying mid, though. Okay, there you go. Well, enough time. It was well done. Well played.
I'm sure Mighty wanted some kills onto Kel'Thuzad as he's in the bot lane. But the rotation, this rotation is really forcing Mighty to move up instead because Black has so much power up there with the Haka. Even Genji coming up sometimes. Ooh, and Genji's also a pretty good soft counter to all the auto attack that comes out from the Tracer. A good boot coming out from Nasang.
Kyocha is not really having any of this. He's not really concerned. Looks like the chain just barely missing there for Sake. Could have been another potential stack. Rich is going to get the re-channel top. This could be another opportunity. Look at Reset's position. It's going to be an unleash opportunity. Oh, they're going to try to use this to get a pick instead, knowing that bot was taken away from them. It's a tough position for Sake to be in against an ETC. Look at this. Tracer comes down. Kyocha is caught yet again. Sake's positioning is really good. Kyocha's has been disappointing, to say the least. He will be taken out here. Sake's always had the better positioning. He's actually respecting the ETC, whereas Kyocha is not. And it's costing them several kills here. It's going to cost them control of this Moon Shrine.
And that's why Mighty focused Uther instead, which is a very nice pick. And Rich comes down maybe a little too late. That seemed like dangerous for a second.
Okay. Gonna see essentially this kind of dance here for the potential unleash, as we do see Rich rotate down. It was a bit concerned. Reset is going to take a ton of damage here. We'll be able to get out, disrupting that Siege Giants conversation. And Mighty is still in position to maybe get an unleash, but Rich sneaks up top. Looks like Good doesn't realize can't squat, so they lose the shrine. Had he been squatting, that might have actually been a take, but he was greedy in lane, didn't see Rich. Kyocha nearly dies again to another Pulse Bomb. This keeps happening. Parting Gift is the attempt here, but does not happen. Magi with a good Psy Storm. Again, they lose control of the Moon Shrine. Like, Mighty is ahead in this game, make no mistake. They are getting the better trades in the bot lane and are nearly getting Dragon channels over and over again.
Not just because they got a few kills on Kyocha. They have been putting a lot of the power and leaving the bottom lane alone to ETC. I think it also has to do just giving less stacks to Kel'Thuzad so he doesn't get the power spike as fast as possible. Because if you have a lot more heroes onto the other side, he can basically, it's easier to land on your skill shots and get those stacks. I think that's one of the reasons Mighty's actually not having all their members down there.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and I think that you're absolutely correct. And like, he's not getting the stacks he wants, and that's part of the reason why Black's behind. The other reason is because they lost control of the Moonshine so many times. Good is not going to squat this though. Looks like they have enough to block it in mid for the time being. Joker's squatting meanwhile, which is a little bit odd. We'll get chain stun here, but Tist will need to back off.
The blind comes in handy all the time, especially against the DPS like that.
March of the Black King is coming in here again. Could be able to use it to try to get a 1v1 pick if need be. He's going to go down here though, looks like. Ooh, just barely. I think one more auto might have got him there.
That was almost the panic.
Okay.
Let's see if they fight in the choke points, those small choke points, then I think much of the Black King can actually get a lot of value. Here comes all the members of MVP Black in the mid lane.
Okay, Blessed Shield is committed to here. There's the blow up on a Tracer. That's what I'm talking about. That's their best bet. Mosh Pit does go down here, but it is going to be Divine Shield to Rich, who finally gets the drag. More Fishers coming into Joker. Looks like this is just going to be a 1-for-1 at the end of the day. DPS trade.
Oh my. Even Isolation. Everything was put onto Tracer. That Genji actually used the Shift Strike right after the blow-up, so he did not get the reset. He could not come back from the wall. Oh, that was just sad to watch.
Certainly was. Well, this is going to now be an opportunity for Lucio to retake the Sun Shrine. Rich tried to take the Moon Shrine by sneaking that capture, but good response here from Mighty. Siege Giant's finally dealt with now by Good as he rotates down bottom with Rich. So cleans that up. And in order for Mighty to take the Moon Shrine, we are going to have to see them commit in. And I don't know if that's really a good idea at this moment in time. Covering the mini-map as the Observer. The Observer's just trying to make my life hard today. Okay.
Let's see, as Genji's just soft counting. Look at all the damage by the deflect. Also dodges the pulse bomb. Just stun onto Tracer. Recalls back.
Okay, Reset's going to Dragon Blade to try to get this kill. I don't think this is going to work. Well, he gets the kill, but he dies for it. And will this be better? I'm not so sure about that. March of the Black King can be used here by Good. He's in a good position to do so. Sound Barrier goes down. Here it comes, doing a decent amount of damage. Gets those heals. Perhaps could have used it a little bit earlier. Isolation onto Tassadar here. Comes out from Rich, but he's now out of position. Sake barely survives here. Picks up some stacks on his way out, and looks like it is going to be just a 1-for-1 trade there. I feel like the March could have been a little bit faster there coming out from Good. He was in really good position to hit all three of them early in the fight, but waited till after the Sound Barrier for some reason.
Maybe he was thinking that he could have, he could get more health with after when he's low. He can get a lot more sustain with percentage healing, of course. But that was an okay use, of course, after 1-1 trade. But Mighty will get the Dragon Knight though, because the Aka was so low, was basically out of the fight right after.
Yeah. So now they're just going to push this mid. Looks like Good is going to find himself in trouble. Did try to march to survive, by the way. Like, that actually happened.
We didn't even see any animation.
Yeah, I mean, you could see him like try to swing, I guess, but that's about all we saw. Report the orc for feed, I don't know. We'll respawn soon, obviously. Magi doesn't get much done with this Dragon Knight. Is going to get...
Oh, there's a Blessed Shield and Lucio blows up. Even Sound Barrier was not available at the moment.
And Dragon Knight gets one wall here. They lose Lucio, so this is a pretty good situation for Black. And they struggled to control the shrines, to control the lanes for a long time. But I think that now they're starting to regain control of the game. They're getting more consistent picks. They are taking an experience lead. And that Dragon Knight doing very little is such a good thing for Black now, because this is one of those moments where you're really frustrated as a team that's lost the first Dragon Knight, but you don't lose a fort, you only lose a wall. Very happy with that. Looks like the cooldown reduction is complete now at about 10:15. So it looks like 10 minutes is about the standard timing for that here for Sake and Kel'Thuzad.
See a lot of extra damage onto KT also. Seems like Mighty had a pretty good rotation in the beginning, but I think keeping ETC at the bottom lane was actually a problem for them when they could actually get more ganks onto the other lane. Keeping up with the other waves, not getting the stack did work, but see the action here. Dragon Blade doing tons of damage. The sound barrier, nice timing. Isolation lands onto ETC.
Okay, Reset did do so much damage in that fight. All they've gotten is ETC so far, but sustained healing coming out now from Uther means that is just going to be too much for them to handle. That's a second pick now onto Magi. And it's all over now, this fight. Black could try to push for this fort. They've got one Siege Giant here, actually, that Uther can even heal up if they want to, and try to just get this fort, maybe get the cannon tower with this 4-man push while Rich is soaking mid lane. There's the heal onto the Siege Giant, speaking of which.
Get the chain and does not get the roots onto BDG. If Tracer gets caught like that, then Tracer will be deleted by KT's combo. That's the power of chain. Chain range is insane.
Pretty much a must take. The Phylactery is definitely available for Sake as well, so even if he dies, he could buy back in if he wants to. And that's kind of one of those things that, well, that's speaking of combos, that's one of those things that always makes you frustrated playing against KT, because it's lose-lose playing against KT when he has that. He has his lifesteal with it, and that makes it harder for you to kill him.
That's right.
And then at the same time, if you do kill him, he has the potential to buy back, so you're like, ooh, that talent is so good. All right, Rich is just going to channel this after the picks, after the push they got. Black's going to get the first Dragon Knight. This should do more than what Mighty's was able to accomplish.
A lot more later in the game, 12 minutes into the game, as PDG is just charged away Rich on the Dragon Knight now. And Sake is trying to do more damage. It seems like they will get the kill onto Leoric. Maybe you are right. Maybe we do need to push that report button. But the chains from KT, it's so good. You know, you can drag every single time. If you get the skill shot, it's hard, but in the right hands, it feels pretty strong. KT's
kit is so cool because it's one of those heroes that you can really feel the skill. If you've played him before, when you look at this, you respect the play of Sake. If you've never played him, you're probably like, well, this hero seems broken. Well, go try it, okay? See if you can pull it off.
Yes, it's not as easy as you think, of course. And those chains have been landing. Let's see the target this time.
Yeah, it's going to be Magi here. Not going to get the kill. Or actually, not Magi. Nasong, my bad. So they're going to get out of here with the keep. And this means that Black is on track for a victory, right? They got the early keep. They got super early Masters of the Cold Dark completed for Sake. And, I mean, what else could you really ask for? Oh, if I'd pick on the Tracer, that's what they're asking for. Not going to get it, sadly.
Fisher also misses. March of the Black King looks pretty lonely, but Genji's trying to pop that Dragon Blade, and here we go.
Okay, Dragon Blade not really getting much done. No Divine Shield to protect. Rich might actually need it here. No use of it. Looks like Kyocha's willing to let him die here. Tist is in trouble. They do have this wall still, somehow, some way, despite the early pressure for Mighty in this bot lane. That wall is going to help save him. I think the Divine Shield trade here, I guess, isn't that great for a hero because, like, Dahaka, who's going to respawn faster than the Divine Shield cooldown and can instantly re-enter the fight. So I suppose the trade is okay. They didn't necessarily need to save him.
This small choke point, of course, Joker holding into the mosh pit. That's a big threat for MVP Black. Fisher misses once more. They have to look careful. Look onto the ground all the time.
Okay, I mean, this is essentially a 4v5 fight that Black is winning. And Dahaka's still not on the field. Divine Shield used here. This is where they want it. Nearly getting the kill onto Good. Not sure what about that mosh pit, though.
So, we don't need to say anything about that mosh pit.
We will just pretend like that mosh pit never happened.
But it's on cooldown for some reason. We'll see. I thought Good was about to turn around and use March of the Black King. I thought that was actually a pretty good angle for it to sustain himself, but he survived anyhow. So good play coming out from Good. But they lost the keep, as you said, as this Dragon Shire can go into a long game, but if they're pressured all the time just like that, so MVP Black now is going to push the top lane. They want to have the opposite side, giving some more pressure so it's easier to take the Shrine. And Mighty will be having a tough time without the global.
Yeah. Also, that fort will get them closer to 20. That'll probably put them about 85–90% experience to 20. So really important moment when they do get that. Goes down now, so it goes to 90% here. Reset's going to sneak this bottom Moon Shrine. And the Sun Shrine will be taken back for Nasong. Just trying to do his best Toby impression up here. But it's now a position to where Black has kind of all the cards, and Mighty is running out of tools to survive until 20. They need to make sure that Black does not get a Dragon Knight, but it's going to be very difficult to do so now with not only Catapult pressure, but the Night Camp pressure in the bot lane.
Not just that, they have 20. That's the biggest power spike in the game. Mighty is trying to do something. Moshpit not back in 7 seconds. Fisher missed right there. There's a Blessed Shield onto Lucio. Dragon Blade will pop with the Divine Shield onto Genji.
Magi is the target. He does survive here. Good sound barrier and a 3-man Mosh here from Joker. No interrupt here. This could be the moment that Mighty really needs to come back in this fight. Sake is still alive, mind you. Blows up Lucio. Got another Fisher in 5 seconds, and it's like this is going to be potentially lights out. Goods down 2. Resets going in. Another
nice chains by Sake. That saved big time for MVP Black, as Sake was basically untouched in that team fight.
No deaths for Sake this game, by the way.
Nice chain once more. Seems like we'll
take a weird angle to watch this fight, as we're watching the catapults hit the core. I mean, they could just go for the core. I think that's the overarching theme of what Korean commentators are talking about. Oh, look at that, though. Reset gets the kill. Doesn't even need the Fisher. Look at that Tastar body. See you later. All right, 14 kills to 5. Keldazad's win rate spikes to a 50% here, as MVP Black will take game number 1. Not the most dominant fashion we've seen them take it, but Sake showing the power of Keldazad there and showing the power of better positioning in team fights. That 4v5 fight they took at the Siege camp was a thing of beauty.
Those chains and this positioning, giving them an uncomfortable position by dragging them with the chain and from the back line. I mean, Sake's play was amazing. I think he just hard solo carried that game right there. And Rich, I don't think he's feeling the best as a Dehaka, sometimes coming in on late timing. Oftentimes, I would say his Dehaka play was not the best, but overall, of course, Sake hard carrying, and Genji even Genji didn't do too much, I would say. But Mighty had a good chance of coming back. It didn't happen at the end. Yeah,
it did not happen at the end, but was a pretty fantastic game of Keldazad overall.
That's right.
Building his stacks around 10-15, so that seems to be the average time. We saw that yesterday as well. So 10-15 seems to be about when you want to have that cooldown reduction done by. You want to farm those stacks early. And then, I mean, he got his phylactery super early, didn't actually need to use it to buy back in at any moment because
he never died.
He never died. So he always had lifesteal. I mean, it's a powerful build. It's a powerful hero right now. The Fisher usage, we had a few good ones, but overall it was really just his raw damage output we saw that end up being the most successful.
The cooldown is so short on that hero. You can actually use twice or even 3 times in a team fight where you have double supports like this all the time. And when you have the burst damage after you finish your passive, you do 75% more damage. So that's a big power spike for sure for KT. And man, those combos sometimes just blew up, and Sake hard carrying that game. I want to see more KTs coming out from Sake.
Yeah, same. I think we will. I mean, it's a hero he said he wanted to play a lot, and it's now released, and Sake going back to Mage. So if we do move into a meta where Mage counters the hyper carry, then...
Do you think we're going to have the Mage meta?
I talk about this every day.
Yes, you do. But like solo Mage, like hyper carry meta?
No.
No?
Double DPS like old times.
Double DPS like just like what MVP Black did right now?
One support, one top laner.
One support, right?
One support.
Are we going back to the single support meta?
I mean, if Mage meta becomes a thing, yeah.
Yes.
But I don't know if that's going to happen, but it certainly has happened a few times already in Korea, and I think that could be one of the ways to counter with burst Mage damage the double support hyper carry meta. We'll see if that becomes true or not, but that first game was at least indicative of theory crafting how it could work with burst damage. Tracer, obviously, not the best example. She's one of the easiest to kill hyper carries against burst. You do that against a Greymane, for example. It's a little bit tougher to get those kills. But then again, Greymade's not as mobile as a Tracer, so there's a lot of trade-offs. A lot of people would argue the Tracer was strong against the Kel'Thuzad, but always positioned correctly with Sake. Kyocha definitely made a few mistakes in that early game, but Sake did not. He was perfectly positioned, no deaths all game long. I mean, he probably was on the MVP screen at the end of the game as well.
Yep, I actually want to take a look at how much damage he dealt in game number 1. Probably over 100k in that. Not too long of a game in that Dragon Shire. I would probably say 120k even, or even more. Sake just holding that. Genji though from Reset seems like Genji and not Genji. Reset and Rich did not have the best games of their lives. It seemed like they were not too warmed up yet, so to say. Maybe we'll see some better Genjis and top laner happening from Rich, as Mighty also had a pretty good game. They were fighting a team fight when they were not 20 and MVP Black was 20. They almost won that too with a great mosh pit, some great team fighting happening. But if they were close to 20, I think they could have won that game.
Yeah, I think so too. There was definitely some comeback potentials in some of those